This is a betteryouthministry.com training video. We're talking about how to annihilate your public speaking anxiety. And this subject came onto my radar when another youth pastor reached out to me. He told me that he was perfectly comfortable talking with his students every single week, but when he got up to speak in the adult worship service, he was simply overcome with nervousness. And so we began talking about it, and that's how these ideas came about. And it's a common problem, I think. When you're talking to students, you're comfortable, you're quick on your feet, you're fun, you're even funny. But then all of a sudden, when you're asked to preach in big church or even just asked to get up and speak in that adult worship service with the adults, you just clam up. You step up to the pulpit, you step onto the stage, and your heart starts to pound in your chest. Your thinking gets cloudy, your palms get sweaty, muscles tense up, your mouth seems to forget how to work. And then what follows is this series of ums and ahs. And it's worth wondering, what is the deal? It's not that you're afraid to speak in public. I mean, you speak to your students every week, so that's not the problem. The problem is anxiety. And specifically, there are two kinds of anxiety that you might be experiencing in those moments. The first is situation-based anxiety, and the second is audience-based anxiety. So I'm leaning heavily on a Stanford University lecturer named Matt Abrahams for this. He says that in situation-based anxiety, the context in which you're speaking is what causes your anxiety. So the agitating factor that makes your muscles tense up, that makes your mouth begin to just mumble things like you forgot to talk, the agitating factor could be either room location or audience size. So either way, whether it's the location of the room, the dynamics in the room, the size of the audience, when it's situation-based anxiety, your view of the situation or the context that you're in is what causes your anxiety. The other version of this anxiety is audience-based anxiety, and that's what happens when the people that you're speaking to, somehow their elevated status in your mind, something about the people that you're speaking to is what activates your anxiety. So maybe it's their expertise, maybe it's their perceived attitude towards you, whatever it is, it's their status, their expertise, their attitude. One of those things about the audience is prompting your anxious response. So Matt Abrahams explains that by determining which one of these types of anxieties is the source of most of your anxiety, then you can begin to develop a targeted, proactive approach to addressing your fear. And that comes from his book called Speaking Up Without Freaking Out. So let's go ahead and jump in 4 ways to annihilate your public speaking anxiety. Number 1 is write your fears. So we experience fear and anxiety when we fixate on negative thoughts. And in most cases, the fear that we feel is disproportionate to the actual fear that we face. And that means it's irrational. Now, I know that doesn't exactly help when the adrenaline is flowing fast and furious through your veins, but it can help when you understand that this is an irrational fear. That can help you actually limit the amount of adrenaline that is flowing in the first place. So Abrahams suggests that we ask this question: what is absolutely the worst thing that could happen? What is absolutely the worst thing that could happen? And I don't want you to stop there. Research suggests that the simple act of writing down your fears and concerns can potentially reduce a wide range of performance anxieties. Somehow, getting your fears out into the open, down on the paper, is a great way to deal with those fears. When those negative thoughts are exposed to the light, the truth of what's really at stake has a way of taking care of those fears and eliminating a good portion of those anxieties. Number 2, visualize your success. So according to Abrahams, you can improve your skills, reduce your anxiety, and increase your confidence just by doing this one thing, by envisioning yourself speaking. When you visualize your success, you create a mental picture of success before it even happens. Your brain is incredibly powerful. So you can create mental images of failure, or you can create mental images of success. A lot of anxiety comes from mental images that fixate on failure. So what I want you to do is spend your time visualizing success. What will it look like when you deliver your message and the audience nods in agreement with you? That's what I want you to visualize. When you spend your time visualizing success, you are more likely to experience it. Number 3, practice your message. Practice is so important. You cannot deliver a message the way you intend to deliver it if you haven't practiced it. So Abraham's counsels, making time to practice is critical to feeling more confident and less nervous. If you want to feel more confident and less nervous, then you have to make time for practice. Now, when you're practicing, don't try to memorize a specific way of saying the words. That's not going to help you. Instead, focus on the structure of those big ideas, what you're trying to say, the order in which you're trying to say it, and then you're smart enough to figure out on the fly, on your feet, on the go, how you want to actually say those words. So focus on the structure of your big ideas. You might even consider, this is a trick that I think is helpful, consider writing your main points in the form of audience questions to which you just offer your responses. Here's what happens. Questions help to frame the situation in the mode of conversation rather than presentation. So let's say that your point is the Bible has authority. Okay, I don't know if that would be a point that you would make or not, but let's just say that that's the point. You could pose that to yourself in the form of an audience question, which would be, why should I listen to the Bible? See, so rather than having to memorize the point and the way that you're saying it of the Bible has authority, you just flip that around. Why should I listen to the Bible? Well, because the Bible has authority. And now all of a sudden you've engaged in a conversational way rather than in the mode of a presentation. That shift alone from trying to make points to trying to offer responses to questions will help to reduce your anxiety. Because, if you think about it, you're probably not very nervous when you're talking at the kitchen table, are you? I really doubt that you are. And that's mostly because it's a conversational mode. It's just simply question and answer rather than presentation. So the fourth thing that I want you to consider is engage your audience. The fastest way to break the ice and calm your nerves is to establish rapport with the people who are there and listening to you. This is what Abraham calls audience connecting techniques. These can be surfaced by simply flipping the question from what do I want to say to what does my audience need to hear. That's how you're going to begin to connect with them in a fresh, bold way. Additionally, there are a few tricks to engage the crowd from the start and get them on your side so that they're less like a threat and more like a teammate. You could ask for a show of hands in response to a question. So you could say, how many of you took an hour to get ready this morning? Or you could say, how many of you woke up less than 30 minutes ago before you got here? And then you got a show of hands. That's a great way to work with students. You could ask them to imagine a situation or to remember an event. So you would say, imagine you're walking down the hall and you're getting ready to go into your third period class and you see the guy that you have a disagreement with. What are you going to do? See, you're imagining the situation. If I say imagine the situation, imagine you're about to pull into the parking lot for a job interview, right? Automatically, if you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, you are imagining that situation. Or you could say, remember an event, remember your high school graduation. Automatically, your brain is strong enough and powerful enough to take you, to transport you back to that very event. So that's a great way to engage your audience. You could tell them to respond to the person next to them. So you would say, tell the person next to you your favorite flavor of ice cream. You could say, tell the person next to you your favorite genre of music. All of a sudden, you've got participation. You've begun to connect the audience with each other and also with you. The possibilities for this are endless. When you're focused on engaging your audience, the attention is directed away from yourself And when that happens, that helps reduce your level of anxiety and it helps you get settled into your message. So now it's your move. The next time your pastor asks you to preach or speak in the adult worship service, I still think that you'll feel that same uneasy feeling, and that's okay. It just means that you think it's an important opportunity and your body is reacting the way that it should by producing adrenaline. But how you prepare will help you a lot. How you prepare will help keep that adrenaline at a reasonable level and keep it from crossing over into fear and anxiety. So what I would do is begin by writing your fears down. Be specific, write them down. Then start to visualize your success. Then after you've written your message, begin to practice it. And then when you step up on the stage, be sure to engage your audience. Use some of those audience connecting techniques. And if you get hit with a few last minute jitters right before you step up, here's a helpful acronym that you can keep in your Bible, and I think that it can help you get through whatever those last minute jitters might be. The acronym is CALM, and C is for converse with the audience. So you can stand up and begin to have a conversation. That'll take you right out of presentation mode. Who's happy to be here? Who's glad to be here? How are you doing this morning? This kind of thing. Just begin to talk with the audience. Affirm your abilities. So again, you're just going to say, I've done this several times. I've been up on a stage. I'm not afraid of being up on a stage. I am just as valuable, just as important as anybody else in this audience. There's nothing that I have to worry about because I am a capable person. L is look confident. You don't want to stand up and say, gosh, y'all, I'm so nervous this morning. That's not going to project the image that you want, and it's not going to reinforce to yourself the image that you want to have running through your mind. So instead, it's kind of a fake it till you make it concept. The reason why that advice is tried and true is because it is tried and true. Fake it till you make it. Look confident. Stand up. Spread your feet shoulder width apart. Get in a power position where you can stand and deliver with confidence. And then last, I would say, M, make your moves. And that's just what I call moves, the different parts of your message, the different parts of your sermon. You're going to begin. You've planned your message. You've planned what you're going to say, hopefully, because you've had to practice it. And so now at that point, you're talking with the audience, you're affirming your abilities, you're looking confident. Now it's just time to stand and deliver, make the moves that you've written down, and I think that you'll do just fine. So don't let speaking anxiety keep you from preaching the message that God has called you to preach. In my opinion, adults need to hear your message just as much as your students do. So put these 4 ways into practice and go knock it out of the park. If you're wondering who I am, my name is Trevor Hamaker. I run betteryouthministry.com. I help youth pastors create momentum, reach students, and grow faith in their ministries. I do that primarily by focusing on what I call the 5 Ps: place, programs, preaching, people, and promotion. If you need help with any of those things, reach out to me. I'll be glad to help you out. betteryouthministry.com.